The Golden Bachelorette. Signs Joan Vassos is getting cold feet ahead of Chock Chapple wedding. Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Have a nice day. For the latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. Joan Vassos and Chock Chapple left the Golden Bachelorette intent on getting married and starting their life together. But their long engagement has viewers wondering if they will ever make it to the altar. Joan and Chock's shared values and experiences led them to hit it off immediately upon meeting. Both had lost their partners to cancer, and both prioritized their families above all else. While Joan's decision wasn't easy, she ultimately knew nobody could compete with Chock. Chock won Joan over in the finale by suggesting they buy a home together in New York City. Joan and Chock's love shack would serve as a midpoint as the couple split their time between Chock's home in Kansas and Joan's home in Maryland. With their logistical concerns addressed, Joan and Chock began fielding questions about their wedding plans. However, as time goes on, their answers have become more vague, drawing suspicion that Joan isn't as confident about her future with Chock as she once was. Joan and Chock were clear about their plan to have a long engagement in comparison to the Golden Bachelors Jerry Turner and Theresa Nist, who wed immediately after their season aired. But Chock recently revealed that their wedding plans are moving even more slowly than expected. As Weekly reported on Chock's Instagram Q&A, where he stated the wedding wouldn't be until the end of 2025 or 2026. While a year-long engagement isn't unusual for many couples, they claim to be madly in love, so it's a bit strange that they won't settle down together. Joan's comments to the outlet were even more concerning. She claimed she doesn't want to have another thing I have to plan right now. Her attitude makes it clear her wedding is no longer a priority. This is a shocking change of heart from somebody who once found so much hope in imagining her future with Chock. It seems like Joan and Chock may have also put their New York City plans on the back burner. While shopping for a home in the city was one of the first things they did together after revealing their engagement news, Joan and Chock haven't mentioned their plans since then. Joan even traveled to Kansas after Christmas, a time she previously claimed to spend in NYC every year. Putting a halt to their plans to purchase a home together adds to concerns that Joan and Chock got swept up in their own fairy tale. It sounded fun to be constantly traveling and dividing their time between 3 houses, but in reality their arrangement was not very manageable. The toll of living in different parts of the country could be straining their relationship, and they may be putting the brakes on their plans to add a 3rd location to the mix. Joan and Chock's time on the Golden Bachelorette was indeed a fairy tale, one that may not have prepared them for their life outside the show. When Joan and Chock fell in love, they were in the same location, without work and families pulling them apart. Now that they've returned to their regular lives, Joan and Chock have likely hit turbulence. Although Joan and Chock's children joined them for their first Thanksgiving and Christmas together, Joan hinted that merging their families has not been without complications. She and Chock both have adult children living in different states, as well as parents and in-laws. They also have careers and friends. Joan and Chock each had full lives before they met, and it might be more difficult than they anticipated to adapt to each other's worlds. Joan and Chock's reluctance to focus on their wedding is a troubling sign. While it's understandable that they want to take their time getting to know each other, their relationship seems to be moving in the wrong direction. The finale saw Joan and Chock eager to make plans for the future, but they now both seem hesitant to commit. Joan's romance with Chock on the Golden Bachelorette was incredibly fast-paced. It would have been easy to get caught up in the excitement and glamour of the entire situation, which caused her to overlook the red flags. If Joan's having doubts about her future with Chock, it makes sense that she would be pulling back on their wedding plans. Delaying their walk down the aisle could provide them with the time they need to save their relationship, but it could also be a sign of bigger problems to come. Sandra Mason and Charles King gush about their budding Golden Bachelor relationship. Charles and Sandra told BachelorNation.com that they met at the Men Tell All taping for Joan Vassos' season of The Golden Bachelorette last year. After seeing each other in person for the first time, Charles apparently slid into Sandra's DMs. The pair promised to touch base once they were in each other's cities, and when Sandra traveled to Los Angeles over the holidays, she called Charles, and he took her out on a proper first date. Sandra and I spent some time together right around New Year's Eve. We had a really great time together. The vibe was amazing. Sandra is an incredible woman, Charles told bachelornation.com. I love her elegant charm and straightforwardness. She is always up for an adventure. She is so fun and funny. Sandra is classy and elegant and charming, and all of the things that mature men look for in a woman. Charles added how Sandra takes such good care of herself, and as a mature man, he really appreciates all of that about her. For their date, Charles said he took Sandra to Houston's in Pasadena, K. The whole restaurant gave us a shout out and took pictures. It was a lot of fun. We hung out for a long time. I got home by around 3 a.m., Charles revealed. Aren't seniors not supposed to be out past 10 p.m.? I told Sandra that the last time I got home that late was when I was in college. We had dinner and had a great conversation. Charles also teased how he and the Golden Bachelor alum had our moment. He continued to gush of Jerry Turner's former bachelorette. She is a lovely woman. We really had a great conversation that was fun and insightful. And we talked about what we were looking for. And before we knew it, it was after 2 a.m. Sandra agreed that it was a fantastic evening. It was truly so nice. We were at the restaurant for at least 2 hours, and we had a phenomenal conversation, getting to know each other after dinner as well, Sandra shared. We talked about our future, our kids, what we want in a relationship, the show, and so much more. Sandra said of Joan's former bachelor, I found him to be the ultimate gentleman. He is a treasure. Sandra compared Charles to a game of chess rather than checkers. It's so true. He's so sincere, she gushed. A lot of men can seem that way and throw on the charm, but he's not that way, it's truly who he is. Sandra called Charles intelligent and noted how he's such a pleasure to talk with. And on top of that, Sandra also told bachelornation.com that he's so funny and witty, and they got along very well. The hours we spent together were so fun. It was one of the best dates I've had in a long time, Sandra said. Sandra also revealed that she and Charles had their first kiss that night. Sometimes a hug just is not enough, so we did step into the lip-to-lip zone for a minute, but a lady doesn't tell, Sandra teased. While Sandra and Charles clearly had a connection and have remained in contact since that romantic night, Charles is preparing to move to South Africa for work for the next few years. However, the pair said they are optimistic about the future could hold for their relationship. In November, fans were shipping Sandra and Gary Livingston as a couple following the Golden Bachelorette. After the final rose, that Sandra shared on social media how she didn't have a lot of time to get to know him. Gary eliminated Sandra during episode 5 of The Golden Bachelor, while Joan ousted Charles during episode 3 of The Golden Bachelor.